Shalawam Saints, this is Jerron 127. Happy New Year to everybody. Coming to you guys with another video. As always, we are blessed by the best. There is no need to stress. Regardless of everything that we go through um, in life, all the trials and tribulations, we have to keep in mind that, we got to count our blessings. Each day that we wake up, that's another opportunity to serve the Most High God in all that we do with all of our hearts. So, with that being said, we're going to jump right into what this video is actually about today. So, basically, I had a couple of dreams from last year in 2020 that I wrote down that I did not actually talk about or make a video on. So I'm actually going to do that today and talk about one of those dreams. And in this particular dream, I was attacked by a demon, pretty much. And over the years, I've had other bad dreams where I've been attacked by demons and things of that nature. And usually I've come out victorious in things, or seemingly victorious in things of that nature. But in other words, I'm pretty much telling you guys about a dream where I was attacked. And, there's always a message behind why you're being attacked and why these demons usually come to you in your dreams. Um, that's for a whole nother video entirely. But today I'm just going to talk about this particular dream. So this happened actually back in October. This is like October 5th. And basically the setting of the dream was I was back in my old like childhood house where I grew up. And I was asleep. One way I like to sleep on my stomach as opposed to like laying on my back and sleep. And the reason why is because I always think somebody's gonna like punch me in the stomach. So it's so funny that in a dream I was actually sleeping, how I normally sleep on my stomach. And the first thing this demon does when it like manifests itself into my room, it literally sticks his whole forearm into my back. And it was to the point where he could have grabbed the sheets from the other side, or the sheets that I was sleeping on. He could have literally grabbed those sheets and pulled them through the hole that he just made in my body. That's how much of his forearm actually went into my body. So once I, kind of got his, once he got my attention, I'm looking up at him like this, like, yo, like, well, what's going on here? And he basically just telling me, he's like, join me. I need you to join me. And, for anybody who's ever been abruptly woken up when they're asleep, obviously you're not the nicest person in the world. You're a little bit cranky. So I pretty much flat out told him no. I'm like, no, I'm not joining you. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So we started to fight. And we didn't fight normally. We fought with swords. So this big giant, this demon, he wasn't giant, sorry, but he was big. This big imposing figure, for anybody who's seen Star Wars, he looked pretty much identical to Darth Maul, except he was bigger. He was probably over 7 feet tall, had the black and red skin or face paint with the black robes and the horns on his head, and he had the red lightsaber. So that's what he had. And again, for anybody who don't know, I do watch anime, have been watching anime since I was a little kid. And in this one particular anime called G Gundam, the main character uses a move called Shining Finger. Not like literally a finger, but his hand, it kind of just glows, and he like uses that as a move. So after I'm like, no, I'm not finna join you. And, we started to fight with our weapons. Basically, I like hear the theme music from the show, and my hands start to glow, and I put my hands together and they make a big sword. So they make this big old sword, and as we're fighting, it was like he stood no chance because obviously the theme music is playing. So the theme music's playing. He didn't really stand a chance, and I like defeat him in combat, but he don't like disappear, and he didn't like disappear or like blow up or anything like that. He just kind of was froze. Um, almost like a stasis mode or something like that. He just kind of was still, like he was literally froze. So as he's being froze, like in the room, I go to tell my mom, who is also in the dream, just what happened. I'm like, Mom, I was attacked by this demon, da da da. We started to fight, and I was able to defeat him. And she just like, oh wow, that's great, son. That's great. Okay. Doing things like that. And just one other tidbit to point out, uh, how dreams, they really don't operate how the rules are just different. So in this dream, my room, it's not a super big room. So you might be asking yourself, how did you do all this fighting in this small room? Well, it was like we're fighting in this room, but for some reason it was like the size, we were like fighting in a vacuum. So just imagine being in space, everything is all black, and it's just you two fighting in this vacuum. So we're fighting in this vacuum, and then, I defeated him. So once he's like defeated and he's like froze, he's literally standing froze in my room. So, imagine how it looks in my background, and this big old thing is just like in my room. Not this particular room that I'm in right now, because this is an apartment, but my original room. So while that's happening, I tell my mom about what happened, da da da. And then he starts to move again. He becomes unfroze. But it's weird because I guess because I defeated him the first time, he shrank a little bit. He was no longer over 7 feet tall. He was more or less my size now. Like I'm about 5'11", and he's probably a little bit taller. So probably like 6 feet, 6'1", something like that. So he basically the second time around, since he couldn't persuade me using brute force, he tried a different approach this time. He basically tried to coerce me into signing by basically doing something to my mother. And in the scriptures, a lot of the times what is called when like the devil or when demons, when they take root or take hold of somebody, it's called being touched. So not in a sexual way, but they're able to touch you because your defenses are down or whatever the case may be. They're able to be touched. The book of Job actually talks about this. When Satan was still able to go to and fro in the earth, the Lord said, you can do whatever to anybody around Job, but you cannot touch Job with his life. You can touch Job to like make him sick, things like that, but you can't kill him. And obviously the devil has to obey. If he disobeys, he knows what's gonna happen. So basically, again, the thing, I don't know what it was. It looked like some kind of demon, devil thing, something like that. So once it came to and started moving again, he basically touched my mother. How he did it was he shrunk himself down and he went into my mother, and he like put like a tumor or something in her, and this tumor, it was like a black, it's probably like the size of a little bit bigger than a quarter. So imagine like a $50, how big that is, a $50. And imagine that just being like a black mass or something like that inside of my mother. Somehow I was able to see all this as he went inside to do this. And, that was his way of trying to coerce me into joining him, I guess. But I refused again. So this would be like my third time refusing because he wanted me to sign this contract that he manifested out of thin air before he went into my mother. So before he was like, all I need you to do is just sign this contract. Just sign this contract. And he like holding it like this. He like, come on, sign this contract. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not finna sign this contract. So he wanted me to sign on the dotted line. So, he had this finger that grew into like a sharp sickle, like a long, sharp sickle thing. And he was like, come on, just sign right here on this dotted line. And I'm like, no. So that was like the second time I refused him. And then that's when he went into my mom and then, put the tumor in or whatever. My mother, she tried to remove it and she started bleeding like profusely and then she passed out, I guess, from the blood. So once she passed out, he asked again. He was like, come on, sign this contract. Sign it right here on this line. And at that point, I was already up to what he was doing. And I basically told him, I was like, it don't matter who you touch around me or what you do to the people around me. You're never gonna get me to join you. I'm never gonna sign no contracts. I'm not doing nothing. So the contract, it dissolved into money. So just imagine a contract that he's holding, and then I guess once the third and final attempt failed, it kind of just dissolved into a bunch of bills. Like, I don't know if it was dollar bills, 50s, hundreds, I don't know. But it was basically just money. So that dissolved, and from there we started to fight again. So, but the funny thing is, each time, or each test, he got smaller. So by the third time we getting ready to fight, he about the size, he only like 15 inches tall. So remember when I told you in the beginning, he was over 7 feet tall. We fought, I defeated him in brute force. He came back again, tried to coerce me by, messing with my loved ones. It didn't work. So he shrank again. So this third and final time, he's only like literally 15 inches. So he's small. So this time he don't use a lightsaber. He uses he uses two whips. They like two red whips, or excuse me, two gold whips that he like summon. He tried to use these whips. And again, I summon my swords. And he furious at this point. He's super mad. Not only is he much smaller, but I refused him 3 times. So we started to fight again. So, we battling again, and we going back and forth. I got my swords, he got his whips. And I guess because the whips kind of give him a strategical battle advantage, he was able to hit me a couple of times this time. But it was ineffective. It didn't really work. So we just going back and forth. We're going back and forth. I'm landing hits, and he's able to hit me with these whip things a couple of times, and he's just mad. This is the thing, just seething with rage at this point. So I never gave up. He hit me. One thing in life, and I guess the Rocky movie. Rocky said this in Rocky. He was like, it's not about what did he say? It's like I think he said it's not about how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep going. So that's pretty much what was going on. So he was hitting me, but it wasn't doing nothing. I was just steady battling them back. And at that point he just stopped. He basically just said, "Oh, I know why I can't defeat you now." And me, I kind of just got this look like I don't really know what he's talking about. He's just like, "I know why I can't defeat you now." And he's like, "It's because you're a shepherd." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, "What shepherd? What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying again. And when I said that, he kind of just vanished and left. And when I actually woke up, like in the physical, like right now, I wrote down a dream, and for some reason it led me to Ephesians 4. When I go into the chapter, it wasn't really anything that stood out to me. So anybody that listens to this message, that can help me interpret this, just put it down in the comments below. But it wasn't really anything that stood out to me per se. But I'm gonna just read off a couple of things that kind of might be gravitating to what that meant, but again, I'm not sure. So in Ephesians 4, this is Ephesians 4. I'm gonna read just a couple of verses in the beginning and then maybe a couple in the end. So in Ephesians 4 verse 1, it says, I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called, and one hope of your calling. Excuse me. And I'm going to skip down to verse 8. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descendeth is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens. That he might fill all things. Then we're just gonna jump over into Ephesians. This is verse 27. Verse 26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go. Okay, here we go. Yeah, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil. And then I'm gonna jump to the last two verses. This is verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. So just out of those couple of verses that I read, those are the only ones that kind of sort of stood out, but nothing in that chapter particularly stood out to what I was told, what the thing saying is because you're a shepherd. When I looked up the word shepherd, anybody who knows what a shepherd is, it's like somebody that got sheep, sheep and cattle and stuff like that. And it's kind of, in other words, it means being a leader, being a watcher, being a defender. That's what I got from it. So being a watcher, being a defender, and being a leader. That's pretty much what I got from that in regards to being a shepherd when I looked up the definition. So that's pretty much the dream. Just to kind of give you guys a quick glimpse of my actual Bible. It's pretty messed up. It's like got a bunch of papers everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. It's all tore up. Like this part is literally just coming apart. And yes, I have pictures in my Bible. That's one picture. I don't know if y'all can see it. There it is. I've had this Bible since I was 10 years old. And I earned that Bible. I earned this Bible when I was 10 and I still have it. I'm 28 years old now. And I'll never give up that Bible no matter what. So with that being said, everybody, that's the dream. You guys can like and comment below if you got any similar kind of dreams to this one, or if you got any interpretations to this particular dream. Please, by all means, comment below, help me out so that we can figure this thing on out. If you got any scriptures that I can go to, just let me know in the comments below, and we'll go from there. But again, Shalawam to you guys. I hope everybody has a good day, good week, and be safe. God bless.